Okay, as usual, once again, here I am in Barnes & Noble's, this time in somewhere in Richmond, Virginia, and I am just browsing around, okay, and looking for, I just got bored, if that is possible for me. There's so much running around in my head that it usually doesn't happen. I don't think I was. I think I was just restless is more like it. And, I don't normally look at this magazine, but I had just popped over. I think it was because there was a pretty lady over there, is really to tell you the truth, where I got out of my seat. And I looked over at the magazines, and Vanity Fair was there. First of all, there's this guy on the front cover wearing a goofy-ass checkered outfit. And it reminded me of all the conspiracy theorists and all the stuff they talk about, the checkerboard pattern with masonry and all that stuff. You know how those crazy people are. Those darn crazy conspiracy theorists, right? And then it said Bad Bunny. And it just looked really funny. And I looked at, of course, one of the first other things on the cover at the top was artificial intelligence, savior or overlord. But again, this is Vanity Fair. It's the October 2023 edition. And I just watched, what was it? A few nights ago, what was the AI that was trying to take over? Oh yeah, the new Mission Impossible. That's right. The new Mission Impossible features this AI called the Entity, which freakily enough reminds me of, I was talking to another person that you people would probably consider a crazy conspiracy theorist, William Bonatati. If you listen to, I think it's under the podcast called Wisdom Top Mentor Interviews, and I had a whole bunch of people talking across two platforms, on the Wisdom app and also Call-In, and William Bonatati was one of them. Jenny Hatch was another. Truly Julie. There were a bunch of other people. And it got kind of heated. William got so mad he actually started yelling at somebody and left. Because this guy North was there, and Brady Crow, and these other people. So yeah, it's called Fake Fauci. And I forget something else it has in the title. Wait a minute, let me see. There's something like, I know I just posted it on Facebook not too long ago. I'm not a consumer very much. So that's why I don't remember what the hell I posted. But it was something like, let me take a look. I'm going to look at Facebook. That's the closest place I can find it. It's called Fake Fauci, PCR, and Egregious Medical Misinformation. And the reason why was because I got a strike on YouTube. One of my videos got taken down again. And it was because I was reading from a book by Robert T. Kiyosaki, who some of you might know as the author of the so-called #1 personal finance book, best-selling finance book in the world. I think it was like on the New York Times bestseller list for like 6 or 7 years. And he wrote a book called, one of his most recent ones was called The Capitalist Manifesto. And he's become more and more radical as more millions and hundreds of millions of dollars get into his bank account, when you get that fuck you money, as they call it. And so anyway, in this book, The Capitalist Manifesto, there's a section called America Wokes Up. And so my strike on YouTube was for egregious medical misinformation, even though I was simply reading from his book and discussing it. And I think it might have something to do with the fact that Jenny Hatch was on there, because she's pretty far afield in her stuff like that. Anyway, I appealed it. Within seconds they came back and said no. So I know that this is not a human doing this. These are bots. I appealed it before. I think that some of the things that get struck are actually labeled that, like, no matter what the person says, there's no appeal possible. So and that was one of them. And I had Jenny Hatch in there, and I hope that this one doesn't get one just simply because I mentioned the other one that was stricken from there. That would be interesting to see if that happens. So that's going to be an interesting thing. But anyway, that's not what this is about. I'm talking about this. So on the cover of Vanity Fair, where this weirdo outfit. It's worn by Bad Bunny, where it says, "It's good to be Bad Bunny" by Michelle Ruiz. And the photograph is by Sylvester Mako. It's got an SZ in the beginning. I wonder where that comes from. Could be Hungarian. I don't know. But and then the second thing on the front cover there, underneath Artificial Intelligence Savior or Overlord, was the Bawdy Queen of Podcasts. And so, of course, I normally don't, like I said, look into this magazine at all, but whenever I look at anything about podcasts, I'm thinking to myself, let's see what they have to say. Now, it again is more BS. It's really short. It's all right. I didn't learn anything from it. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll see more in here than I did. But it's called the Bawdy Queen of Podcasts, and it's on page 23 and started in 24. Well, 23 really just has a picture of her, and it's this. Well, she's good looking. Vanities, it says on the top. Vanitas, Vanitatum. Page 24. Call her mogul, Alex Cooper. Mike's up and away. And let's see. Apparently she's wearing a dress by Fendi, a necklace by Sophie Buhai, a ring by Prunis Jewelry, and throughout her hair products by Color Wow, makeup products by Dior, nail enamel by Chanel, and Chanel Lavernus, styled by Rebecca Ramsey. Shout out to all of y'all who made her look super hot in this photograph where she is laying on a very furry carpet with her arm on a couch with these very earthy tones. Reminds me of like a 1970s setup. 70s, 80s. I grew up with those earth tones everywhere. Anyway, let's take a look. So, Vanity's opening act. And there's another photo of here. Kind of funny looking picture, but she's wearing all black. The black leather jacket and a kind of transparent black skirt of some kind. And it says, clothing and shoes by Saint Laurent by Anthony Vaccarello. Clothing and shoes by Saint Laurent and Anthony Vaccarello. I don't know which is which. Maybe there's a typo. All right. But it's kind of cool. It says, father figure. Alex Cooper takes the Call Her Daddy podcast to new heights. Right? What does that mean? All right, I'm going to read from here and see what we got. So it says, the show that prompted Jane Fonda to call Alex Cooper one of the best interviewers I've ever had is returning for season 3. And that's not even the biggest news for its 29-year-old star. Moving Call Her Daddy away from Barstool Sports, where it began, resulted in a Spotify deal worth around $60 million. She's also turned her attention to launching Gen Z talent into the stratosphere via her own media company, Trending. Now Cooper is here to talk and to listen. So, where else have we heard stuff like this before, right? When Joe Rogan was under fire because he had all those people on his podcast talking about you know what. I'm not going to say it because this one's getting published on YouTube, so I can't talk about what Joe Rogan was talking about that he got all the media attention. He was in the news every single day for like 3 months, and they were really doing a lot of hit pieces on him. But that was when a lot of people, or at least it first came to my attention, that people were getting multi-million-dollar Spotify deals. His was what, like 100 million, anywhere between 100 and 300 million. I don't remember the number, but it was something pretty fantastic like that. So that's a big number. And so for this person who I've never heard of before, Alex Cooper, apparently Jane Fonda thinks she's the best interviewer she's ever had, and she got a $60 million Spotify deal. So let's see. Let's learn more about this Alex Cooper here. It says, raised in suburban Pennsylvania. Shout out to Curdy J. He came down actually from Pennsylvania and visited me and brought me a painting, one of his original paintings. I met him through the Wisdom app, and he was the first Wisdomer, as they call them, on Wisdom that I met in person. I actually then met Cecilia Grace and Cicely Marie Goose, aka Wandering Fool, who both happened to be in the Virginia area. I picked up Cicely from the Richmond airport, and then Cecilia from the Richmond airport, and Cicely Marie Goose, aka Wandering Fool, from Norfolk airport. So basically my whole day hanging out with those two. And then I met Christopher Birkenbein, who has a science podcast. He's a science communicator. He is a scientist. He's a project manager at NASA, and he was here at Langley Air Force Base doing some work, and he came down to hang out for a little bit a couple weeks ago. It was in August. Holy crap, it's already October. All right, so raised in suburban Pennsylvania, Cooper was the middle child of a TV producer father and a psychologist mother who helped her and her friends get through adolescence. My house was where you came to process emotions that maybe weren't as accepted, she says. At Boston University, she wore her signature daddy sweatshirt to make guys feel uncomfortable. They'd be frustrated, and I could tell it was because I shouldn't have this on my chest. They're like, "We're daddy," and I'm like, "No, I'm daddy." All right. So that's her. I suppose that's inspired where she got her Call Her Daddy podcast. Already a cool name, I have to admit. It is a very cool name. Call Her Daddy. It strikes attention. I learned a long time ago doing some SEO stuff that anytime you put her or she in any of your SEO stuff, it tends to get more traffic for some reason. All right. I can only imagine why. Yeah. Ooh. Katia Davidova. What is this picture she put here on? Good Lord, she's gorgeous. On LinkedIn. I have her book, by the way. Katia Davidova. It's called Joy in Plain Sight. I'm going to be doing a bunch of readings on that. This is a picture I'm seeing here on LinkedIn, Culture Blast. All right, let me not get too distracted. Katya is definitely very distracting. What is that on your finger, Katya? Oh, she's got rings all over them fingers. Dude, she's getting more gorgeous as time goes along. All right, let's continue with this Vanity Fair article here about the Bawdy Queen of podcast, Alex Cooper. All right, so as the dust settles from her moves away from Barstool and her original co-host, Sophia Franklin, Cooper is proud that I fought for something that I had built. I can sleep well at night because I know I worked my ass off. Getting that compliment from Fonda was the coolest moment of my career. I cried to my parents afterward. Another guest highlight, Miley Cyrus. I'm never starstruck, but I was a massive Hannah Montana fan as a kid. All right. Hannah Montana. You know, I never watched it. But kind of like Miley Cyrus, though. Tell you what. All right, let's see. I think it was that whole Wrecking Ball thing that changed me. All right, let's take a look. All right, her most surprising guests were Post Malone. He's the sweetest soul. Yes, ma'am, and sorry, ma'am. And Gwyneth Paltrow. She says, yes, ma'am. Oh, and Gwyneth Paltrow. I think that her reputation is interesting because her vibe is so lovely. What does that mean? Does Gwyneth Paltrow have a bad reputation? People talking shit about our beloved Gwyneth? How dare they? All right, what? Okay. Now let's take a look. So, for the most part, remember, this is a short one. I took a lot more time blabbing about other stuff. Let's see. This is me warming up because I have to read some boring financial and economic books soon for the World Reading Club podcast from, I don't know if I'm going to get through all three of them today, but I got the classic Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, and then two newer ones, which is The Little Book of Economics and How Money Works, both by Dorling Kinsley. We'll see. Maybe this will get me started. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah, her most surprising guest. All right, for the most part, Cooper's been an open book until she met her fiancé, film and TV producer Matt Kaplan. Initially, she'd only call him Mr. Sexy Zoom Man on air. I actually have to work on this in therapy to be like, you cannot exploit this relationship. What the hell that means. Her deal with Spotify ends next summer, but she knows her value. Company data reported in the press revealed just how much a Call Her Daddy appearance can boost a guest's profile. There's math and stats, she laughs. Gotta write it down for the next deal. And this was written by Britt Hennemuth. Britt Hennemuth? All right, told you it was short. I could have probably read that in less than 1 minute, but that's what it is. All right, again, that's, let's see if we can find out more about her later. I'm going to take a listen to her podcast and see what all the hype is about. See if I can find, specifically, she mentioned she had Jane Fonda on there, Miley Cyrus, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Post Malone. I'm gonna look for those. Should be interesting. All right, that was my warm up. I'm gonna get into the real stuff now and put this magazine back on the Barnes and Noble's bookshelf before I ruin it. All right, that's it. There's no more. And I don't have any music in here. I'm using my iPhone and it's not queued up. All right, peace out.